Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday migraine strategy call. My name is Debbie Waidl. I am a certified migraine health coach specialist here to help you in this group find ways to end your migraines without having to use those quick fixes, the pills, the surgeries, all of the other things that no one is looking to have to do, right? We're trying to find that way to actually end our migraines. So I am here today with two graduates of the Freedom from Migraine method. So welcome, Tracy and Susan. Thanks for being here today.
Good afternoon.
Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Before we get started, first of all, let me just make sure we are live. It always says live up here, but I always like to double check in the group. Perfect. We are live over there. I know a few members of the team will be over there keeping an eye on the comments. So when you jump on, make sure you let us know where you're watching from. Give us a quick hi, hello. We'd love to know who's here. And pop your questions in as we go, ladies, please, so that we make sure you get the most out of this call. I would just like to tell you who you are listening to today. So we have Susan. Susan's story is a little bit different. She had one migraine per year for like 10 years, which, you know, for so many of us, it's like, oh, that's really not much at all, right? But she watched her mom suffer with migraines for 10 to 15 years, and she told herself that she was not going to let that happen to her. So Susan really took her health, in her control and decided that this was something she really needed to work on, especially after she had a 3-day migraine that put her in bed. We'll let Susan tell you a little bit more about that in a while, but she decided it was really time and had to take some control and get those migraines gone. And Tracy was struggling with daily migraines that were really intense, with pain in her neck and back, really sensitive scalp, highly irritable. That was me. She said migraines on and off since she was a kid, but after some challenging time with family and friends, they ended up happening really daily. And that's when Tracy decided it was really time to start doing something to actually get her life back. And that's really what all of the women who end up working with us are looking for. They just want to end that pain, but they want to get their life back. That's really the main thing, right, ladies? That's what we're looking to do.
Exactly.
Yep. Amazing. So let's start off with something super simple. And I don't care who answers first, but we'd love to hear from both of you. So what's the number one reason that you ladies decided to join the Freedom from Migraine method and actually do something about those migraines?
I think I had tried going to the neurologist, getting medications. They would work a little bit, not very much. And there was just not a lot of discussion about actually finding the root causes. They would say they would, but really it was like, okay, try the next med. And I saw it actually in this open group, and I listened to a couple of calls just like this, and some of the things that were said made me kind of go, that's really, it kind of makes a little bit of sense, but I knew it was not the whole kind of picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I was nervous about it, didn't know, what I was going to do. And I just was like, well, if I got to do something different because what I'm doing is not working.
Absolutely. How about you, Susan?
Yes. So yeah, for me, like Debbie had mentioned, I am unlike most of you. I felt kind of funny doing the program because I hadn't had the severity of headaches and migraines as most people have in the program. However, I did see my mom suffer for 10 to 15 years and said to myself back then, if I ever get a headache that lasts, longer than a few hours, I'm going to be nipping this in the bud because I didn't want to live that way. So, just to backtrack a little bit, I had in 2022 had 3 big injuries that put me out of life, basically took me out of work, took me out of exercising. I had to rest a lot. And the stress from that on my body, I believe, is what caused the 3-day migraine that Debbie mentioned and put that over the edge. Basically, I was, full transparency here, I couldn't get out of bed. I was throwing up for 3 days. That was the time when I said, okay, I'm going to nip this in the bud. And I couldn't do one more. I couldn't have anything else happen in my life that was negative like that. So I joined the program, and I did not hesitate to join it. And I'm happy that I did. And my headaches, of course, have been much, much better and ever since. So
Absolutely. And you know, Susan, I love the fact that we can share with everyone in this group that you don't have to have daily migraines to
Yeah.
get support, because I do think that that's something that we hear quite often. Well, you know, oh, I hear so many of the stories of people that have migraines every day or twice a day, and, you know, they're not working, they can't get out of bed. Those are the people you help. But really, this is an overall health plan with the bonus
Yeah.
that you find migraine freedom.
Right.
Silly us that waited until they were daily before we really took the time to love ourselves to find that freedom. I mean, honestly, like it took that for me to realize that I was not taking care of myself.
Yeah.
People said it all
Right.
the time, take care of yourself, make sure you take care of you. And I was like, I don't know how, or I am, but obviously it wasn't the right way, or, you know, I don't have time, but it, you know, I
Yes.
feel like,
Exactly. And that kind of leads me, Tracy, which I'll let you lead off into the next thing I wanted to ask. So what was that number one thing that the Freedom from Migraine method helped you do, you know, that impacted your migraines?
I think for me, I mean, really, you know, you hear like, look at, you know, the food you're eating, or look at, you know, all these little bits and pieces across the board. And really, it's a total amount of things that you need to look at for yourself. And what may have been really big triggers for me that I had never considered may not affect other people. And you have to really figure out what your body personally needs. And I think it was that overall conversation that not only does it help your migraines and, you know, reducing your inflammation and all that, but it helps, you know, across like multiple other things, whether it's mental or physical things that you're, you know, dealing with that you don't even really realize were, you know, stress things in your life or signs of stress, and how far gone I was. So it was really that whole kind of package.
Yep.
You know, my favorites being things to deal with stress and things, you know, the support was, you know, phenomenal, because you were with people that knew what you were going through, and they were always there. And you guys constantly reminded us to love ourselves and, you know, be nice to ourselves on the hard days, and that not every day will be perfect, and that it's a journey. And those are all so important things that we just don't have that group of women to remind us of all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Susan?
So the number one thing that helped me in this program is putting all of the tools together to bring about an awareness for my whole body. Like Tracy, and you know, her stress level, my body and my mind. I'm aware of what my mind is thinking and doing with regards to stress, and I'm aware of how my body feels, so that I have a complete health. My joints feel better.
Yeah.
Better.
It's always in the joints, right? I hear that from so many people. My joints feel better.
Yes, and I've put all the tools together. It took time. If you methodically follow the program, you learn all of the tools, and you learn which works for you and what doesn't. Some doesn't, some doesn't. You find out what you need, and I've just become aware of the fact, aware of my thoughts and what my body needs. And so altogether, those changes have just brought about this awareness of body and mind, and I'm able to really conquer the migraines before they start. So that's been a huge help to me. And you speak about self-awareness and self-care, Tracy. I really think it's important to take care of yourself, and it's not a selfish thing. You're actually, when you take care of yourself, as we all know, you're taking care, you can take care of other people. And so I go at it as I'm taking care of others when I take care of myself.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Why is it so hard for us to do that?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you know, and I try to really instill that in, you know, friends that I see that are going through stressful times, whether they have migraines or not, and my kids and my husband, like, just, it's so easy to think you just don't have time. And the ramifications of that are so huge, and you don't even see them until 5, 10, 15, 20 years later. I don't know. I don't know why. I just want everyone to just love themselves enough to love their mind and their body.
Exactly. And I think some of this, obviously, right, is from society, you know, the way that we grow up in America, you know, being taught that the woman is that, you know, we're the kind of the glue of the household. We have to be that glue. And if we're not that glue, the household's going to fall apart. Well, guess what? It actually doesn't. I mean, it really is almost at some point in times kind of arrogance, right? That we assume, and I'm not saying you two, I'm just saying in general, that we assume that the world is going to crash and burn if we're not there for every microsecond. But if we just give ourselves that time for ourselves to make sure that we can do more, then actually we're better off. Then we actually can support everyone more, right?
Right. And and my kids, I mean, I can't say they're always grateful, but they are grateful when I more recently teaching them those life skills that they need to take care of themselves and they need to foster on their own. They're happier when they're more self-sufficient. And so the more I let go of all of my to-dos and delegate some of that to them, the happier they are, the more satisfied they are in life. So
yeah, emotionally and physically satisfied by doing both of those, right?
Right, exactly.
I think too, I think you had mentioned at one point, like the age range of most people that are having migraines. And I think like for me, you know, I grew up in a very, like, I was like a self-sufficient household, you know, like I was on my own, my parents, you know, worked, my dad was in the military, like we just took care of ourselves, like from a survival standpoint, not a truly taking care of yourself. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah.
I think that's just how I grew up. Like you had to do these things because nobody else was going to be there to do them. So it definitely is a mind switch. And I just don't want my kids to think that way, you know?
Yeah. So you're both giving them such a gift by things that you've learned. You can turn around and give that gift to your family. Another gift that you've given by putting yourself first, right? Isn't that amazing what happens? All right. So in a small, you know, without going into massive, you know, everything that you've tried, because I think we all have done a lot of the same things, but let's just give an overview of how your life was before you worked on doing this protocol in the program and how your life is now. How do things look different?
So for me, I can say that my life was, you know, with that 3-day migraine, I was in bed for several days, of course. And when I went to the doctor and they told me that I would probably need to go on a preventive medication, that's kind of when I said, okay, that's not what I want, because I had those days of using the triptans and the nausea medication for a few days. I knew how it made me feel. And just, I was crushed to hear that, the only thing was going to be the preventive every day. And so I was obviously really inflamed, not feeling well, and not able to spend time with my family. I knew that during, you know, those migraine days, when I couldn't get out of bed, I wasn't going to be able to go to work. And if I was on the preventive medication, I didn't know what that would look like going to work any longer. I wasn't able to go enjoy concerts with my friends in the park. I wasn't able to go walking. Walking was a big thing for me. That was my form of exercise. And I couldn't get out of bed to do that. Couldn't go places, go on family vacations and all of that. I knew that I could see the writing on the wall, that migraine wasn't necessarily going to go away for me. There was a strong chance that it would be continuing. And now my life is just all about wellness. And I work really hard to eat right and to make sure my family eats right along with me. I've learned ways to keep my stress level down. I've worked on my sleep, and I've just learned all of those tools that are really custom for each person. You know, yours may be different than mine, but altogether it has brought forth just a sense of wellness in all areas of my life. And I feel so much 100% better. I'm very grateful for the program.
I love that. I love it. How about you, Tracy?
So I think that a lot of, like, I had migraines, like I said, Debbie said, since I was little, they would come and go, and, throwing up and all that stuff. And I really think there were some really huge life changes with my parents and my kids from 2020 on. And it was kind of a slow buildup, but I had gotten to the point where I would come home from work and I would go straight to bed. I would, grab my ice pack and go to bed. We did go on vacations, and I was just crossing my fingers, but, a couple times on those vacations, I would be like, I'm going to go lay down. I had some friends that had passed away from brain tumors. And so I was really, wanted to make sure from that standpoint that there was really nothing wrong, and it actually physically wrong in my brain. So that took some time to get through that process. I think I stayed on preventatives maybe 2 weeks, and I was like, this is not working. And I just, I just said why I ended up, trying it out. But now, like, I think I messaged you the other day and I was like, we went tubing on a river in tubes twice this summer, and I didn't get a headache at all. Like, on a river, cold, heat, out all day, not eating a ton. I mean, you can't take a lot of food on the river. I mean,
Oh, you can't.
those things that, we didn't get to do, and, or they would do them without me. And I think just being able to spend that time with my kids and go to baseball games and doing all of that it was a piece that I don't think I really realized I was missing because I was so focused on that pain. But to actually get to enjoy this summer has been great. Like, it's been really good. So
I love it. And summer is actually, I think, the hardest time of year for most people to enjoy. I think people would think the opposite, but because of a lot of the things that you said, heat, triggering migraines, the extremes, a lot of people have a really hard time like going in the ocean and then sitting out in the sun, that's triggering, the different foods, the different schedules. So to know that during a hard time of year, for a lot of people that have migraines, you're being so successful. I think we said you graduated in May, right? And now it's August. So it's not like you just graduated and, you're straight out. You haven't been with us for a while, and look at that.
Well, and in that time, my oldest kid, we had more challenges with her, and I made it through that. And I was like, my number one goal is to not get my migraines back. My second was some other ones, but definitely not have those migraines back.
Yeah.
And I'm still a caregiver for my mom. She's 81, and in the last 6 months was diagnosed with liver cancer. Like, we're going through treatment. So I'm still dealing with life. I still have a hard job. I work at a nonprofit. There's not a lot of people. I mean, like, none of those life things changed.
Yep.
But I can deal with them now and not get those headaches and feel better overall. Like the joints, I think people say that about their joints a lot because I don't think we realized that our joints hurt.
Yeah.
Like, you just thought that was how it was. I'm just getting older. It's just this, it's just that. So none of the life never went away.
Right.
So it's just a matter of how I am fitting myself into that life and how it's better for me and my body and the parts of my body that I can't see inside of me.
I love that you say that, because we actually just spent a whole coaching call this week kind of talking about that stress perception. We are not going to change the whole world. I mean, we can make differences in the world, right? But we're not going to change the whole world. And, just living through COVID, let's face it, things like that can just pop up. So we have to change a little bit about ourselves to be able to handle when those things do happen. And I think that's a tool that so many people are not taught.
No,
and I think it's why so many more people are struggling now, because there is so much more to handle in life. Life is more complicated, and we do get it thrown at us with 24/7 news feed, social media. We don't get a break. So if we don't learn how to take that break for ourselves and how to self-care in 2023, I don't know how anybody comes out of it without having massive chronic inflammation, right? And for us, it shows up as migraines. For other people, it shows up as autoimmunity or cancer or gut health issues. It's all the same thing, but it just shows up with everyone differently.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Let me just pop in here really quick before we continue and make sure that I'm not missing anyone. Hey, Jeannie. Hey, Valentina. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and pop them in chat right now. And if you're watching on the replay, go ahead and pop that in #replay later on. You can still post your questions. We'll make sure that we keep an eye on this, because if you have any specific questions for Tracy or Susan, we want to make sure that you're getting the answers that you would like, because I bet, we have almost 5,000 women in this group, and I bet there's a bunch of women right now that are absolutely resonating with both of your stories, which is amazing. So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Tracy. Was there something else you wanted to say?
No, just, even like at work, had lunch with my boss yesterday, and she's known me when we were peers. And then now, I work under her, and I was just like, this is the first fiscal year we're heading into where I'm not like dreading it. Like
Nice.
she has seen like such a change in how I've been able to handle things at work, and how, I'm 50, I'll admit it, but like my maturity at work has definitely increased because I'm more aware of myself. And that then kind of reduces your stress, but like, work is still work, and,
Absolutely.
and so I think that validation from my family and my peers and that sort of thing is that keeps me going to keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's one thing when we notice it, we notice those subtle changes in ourselves that we feel better, or maybe we look in the mirror and we, feel like our eyes are a little bit more sparkly. But when someone else says that to you, like, you look happy today. You look like you feel well. I mean, what a change to someone going, oh, you look like you have a migraine. Do you have a migraine again?
No, what they would say to me was,
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. Like, how do you keep working when your head hurts all the time? Like, how do you do that? That was what they said to me all the time. And I was like, well, what's my choice?
Yeah.
I make it all work, and then I go home and I go to bed. Like, that's it. So
That was me. The minute I could get those kids in bed, it was like I was done.
Done. And I feel like we don't need to live that way. Like you mentioned joints earlier, Tracy, or going through the day with a headache. I don't feel like we're made to have to live that way. It's low than ordinary, a difficult life. We're not meant for that. We're meant to thrive and live a healthy, happy life. And this program has really, truly changed my whole wellness overall. And like, as mentioning, you mentioned the joint issue, and why, do we need to say, oh, I'm just getting old, my joints are getting sore? Why not help yourself?
Yeah.
Why not this program and help? And the stress, the chronic stress that goes on with every day, every couple of weeks, something crazy happens in my life where I have an abundance of stress. I mean, if I hadn't had migraines at all, I still would have done this program, because that's helped me with the stress and the chronic overload that it puts on my body. I've learned how to decrease that and not have to be stressed. I don't have to be that way. I know I'm still going to have hard times. I've learned how to get through those hard times and keep myself healthy.
Yep.
Migraines are not, so anyways.
I love that. And I think it's one thing that we just have to turn media off and kind of not accept what the doctors are saying to us, because that's why we feel this way, right? When you go into the doctor's office and they say, well, Tracy, of course you feel that way. You have 2 kids, you're working, or however many kids you have, and your life is stressful. And of course you have a headache. Of course you have joint pain. Of course your gut's off. Here's your Tums. Here's your this, here's your that. But it should really be that doctor saying, okay, cool. This is your reality now. What are we going to do to help you handle that reality so that you don't feel? It's not that we'll never feel symptoms again, right? Because all of us, there are days where all of a sudden my neck starts getting tight. And I'm like, okay, what have I been doing? What is going on? And what tools do I need to make sure that I'm going back to again, right? That's what we need. And that's what migraine freedom is. Migraine freedom is not saying you will never feel a twinge again. You will never feel, a headache again. You'll never feel a little nausea again. Migraine freedom is knowing why that happened and what you can do to stop it in its tracks.
Right.
That's the freedom.
Like our physicians don't have that time to spend with an appointment to get to the root of the problem. I still, figure my doctor is my partner in my wellness, but you've helped me so much more than any doctor could have. And I feel like our appointments are just set up so that, and I have a few friends who are in the medical arena, and they will tell me the same. They just don't, they feel bad. They don't have the time to spend with people. And so this program is amazing in that it covers everything to get to the root of the problem, which is really the best way to deal with any health issue.
Absolutely. And that's why a team is important, right?
That's what I was going to say is
team.
Your support team is amazing. It's not just Debbie. Like there's so many people, and I know when I first got in there, it felt a little overwhelming. I was like, whoa, 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 what is all this? But then I was like, I get it. I get the need for that. And then when you leave the program, where do you continue to find that support? Where do you find good, I don't even want to say positive, but healthy support? Because you so easily, you can slip back into it. And that, I think, is such a critical piece of it, is, that community that's built, that gets you through it, because it's, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And you gotta really dig deep, and you gotta stay focused, and you have to have made that commitment, and to have people to remind you that you're worth it, and keep going. And okay, it's a bad day, start again tomorrow, just move on. So those were all very, those were things I needed to hear for a long time. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's try to sum this up, ladies, so that we make this nice and actionable for everyone. So if each of you had to give one last word of wisdom or thought to the women that are out there right now who are still kind of like, are you sure? Are you really serious that there's something that can actually help? Because let me tell you, I've tried it all. I've done it all. I'm different. All the thoughts that went through your heads too, right? And, and through my head when I worked with a kinesiologist a long time ago. What would you want to say to them to let them know that there is hope and that there is something that they can do to actually get their life back?
You go ahead, Susan.
Okay, I will go ahead. Well, I will say for sure, 100% for me is that, as I said earlier, Debbie's program leaves, and the team as well. When I say Debbie's program, I mean Debbie and her whole team of wellness. They left no stone left unturned. Everything was covered as far as general health and well-being, so that my inflammation was completely addressed and lowered. And why wouldn't you want to join the program? It was a lot of money for me, and it was a lot of time. I spent the time, and I'm grateful that I did, but it was a very simple program, and very organized and very thorough and methodical program to follow. It was not difficult in any way. As I say, I spent the time. It was really not that much time each day. And then using those tools to incorporate them into my day, I was able to be patient and follow the steps. So just be as patient as you can. You may see blips where you may not be rid of migraines right away, or you may have one appear, here and there, and think, oh, this program isn't going to work for me. Just keep following the program and keep going through the steps, because if I remember Debbie saying correctly, the longer that you may have had migraines, the longer you were inflamed, the longer it may take you to go through the program and to be well. So just keep following the steps. Do not give up hope. And I also appreciate that she taught me to give myself some grace on days when I, for example, tried to limit my desserts and sugar. That was a big thing for me. I love dessert and all of that. If I had a blip, I knew that the next day I could change it easily. And I just learned to give myself that grace, forgive myself, and keep on going, and really never give up hope. And again, as Tracy mentioned, the community support in this program, I believe, makes it different from a lot of other methods you could help yourself. And so just the positive suggestions and the constant, someone's always there for you to help you. So I just feel like all of those steps, remembering to be patient, don't give up hope, reach out if you ever have any problems. There's always someone there to help you. I'm beyond grateful for this program, and I am 100% certain that it helped me. And I would say, why wouldn't you want to do this? It's amazing. So
I love that. There's so many great golden nuggets in there. I hope everyone heard everything Susan said. I think one of the key things that I just want to remind everyone out of what, if I could kind of sum up just a little bit, Susan, was that we really try to look at each woman for what they need. Every single woman is different. If you're out there searching for a way to end your migraines and you're looking at something that's a cookie cutter approach, like my favorite, the Google, let's do a little Google search and read an article and that's what you're going to follow. Well, you're following something that was written so generically. I don't know how we can assume that that's going to help. That's just like giving a medication to, every single person. Here's your Triptan. You need to be looking at each individual person. Like Tracy eats totally different than Susan. We were just chatting about that before we jumped on the call. And guess what? They can both find migraine freedom and have two totally different diets. So to those of you that think you have to find that perfect diet that everyone's going to follow out there, or you have to find that perfect medication that everyone uses that works, there's no such thing, because each and every one of us is so different. That's why we have a team. That's why we have nurses, nurse practitioners, retired chemists, retired, high school principals, people that are specialized in so many different areas to be able to help you with anything that you might need, in any area, so that we can make sure you get exactly what you need. We have a large team, but I believe that's why we're so successful. We have a large group of women that we, work on with for migraine freedom together, so that you can all support each other. And then the materials third, right? Everyone thinks the material is the most
I
important.
have my printouts still here at work.
Love it.
Signs of
love
a
it.
migraine, things to do when you first start to get one, so that I just
love it.
remind myself.
Yeah, I put mine all in a binder so I can
Oh,
find it all.
I got a binder.
I love
snuck a
it.
binder.
Ooh, you guys just gave me a good idea. Maybe I need to make a little binder.
Yep.
All right, Tracy, what would you like to say to everyone?
I just wanted to say, I don't like to spend money. I mean, it's not even this program, it's doctor's visits, it's clothes. I'm just not a spender. And I think what hit me, well, first I want to say is I think that if you're trying to figure it out, use the Women's Migraine Freedom group that has all these small talks and, talks to people who've been there, or different, about the weather or this or that. I mean, that's where I got started. It was around the holidays, and it was 3 things you can do just to help yourself get through the holidays. Those things are kind of your first kind of baby steps. And then you just have to take that chance. And I said to my husband, and I said to myself, if I don't make this investment in me, I'm going to be investing that money in time into other things and trying to find other solutions. And it was worth, we didn't take big vacations this summer, and that was fine. We just stayed at home, but I was at least able to be around. So in the words I wrote down, I said, be patient and kind to yourself. Take it one step at a time, but in the work of loving yourself, you will get there. That's my favorite line, is you'll get there if you just keep loving yourself.
Oh man, I have goosebumps. I love that.
I can't even tell you how transformative and how much the whole program and your team and everything you give people back their lives that they thought they had lost forever. So, I mean, there's skills that I will take and hopefully share in little bits with the people that I love along the way, and hope that they don't ever get to that point. But if they do, I know who to call.
Exactly. You have our number.
I do.
And I think that's the key thing. We talk all the time about how 1 in 4 women suffer with migraines. But if we actually talked about the number of how many women are sick in this world, we could probably take that number to 1 in 2 or 1 in 3. And I'm not saying sick like someone has to be, bedridden, but sick if you're waking up in the morning and you need a Tums in your day every day, or if you need to keep Advil in your purse, or, if you wake up with aches and pains, guess what? That's sick. Yeah. But we normalize that sick, right? So if we stop to think about that, those numbers, what I love about this group, and I love the fact that Tracy and Susan, that you're here today, is you are a little bit of a part of changing someone's life too.
I hope so. I hope it resonates with one person and they take that step and invest in themselves.
Right.
You too.
You are.
And look at the difference. All right, everybody. Oh my goodness.
I miss y'all, but I'm glad I don't have to come back.
Exactly.
They do program. But yeah, I don't. back as well.
Exactly. That's why we
before.
keep in touch with you in the Women's Migraine Freedom Group, right? Every once in a while, you guys pop in and say a quick hi, and we keep connected on Facebook. We do have a way that people can stay with us in the
Yeah,
members.
we
But
do.
fortunately, these two don't need that. They don't need it, which
Yeah.
is absolutely amazing. Susan's a month graduated now, I think a little over a month. Tracy, 3 months. And we keep in contact with people even at, years after they graduate. And it's so great to hear things like they got to go tubing, or they got to go hiking, or they're looking at going back to work. I think Susan's looking at going back to work. And
And I got to go hiking in the Rocky Mountains this summer, and I was able to prepare myself. I knew what to do ahead of time to get there. So,
love it. Was that great?
oh, it was wonderful. And I was able to go with my whole family. And the days before, I knew, exactly what I needed to do to make sure that it wouldn't be a problem. And it was not. It was an amazing experience. So
It's great.
Yeah. And
Very
that
great.
just really goes right to our goal, right, Susan? We are not trying to just give you action steps that you just follow blindly, but we're trying to give you the teaching and learning on how to adapt your life to you as you go along. Because we're never the same, right? Like, when you're 6 years old, you're different than when you're, at the age that you can have children. And then you're different when you're postmenopausal, and, you're different when you're in your 80s. So you need to know how to be able to adapt your life at those times to fit you. And those are the tools that we try to share. And obviously we've done a good job. I love it.
Yes,
All right,
you're
ladies.
doing a great job. Thank you so much, Debbie, and the whole team. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. Shout out to my amazing team. They are phenomenal. I know they're over there watching right now. So thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you so much, Susan, for being here today. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. Again, if you're watching on the replay, please mark #replay. Let us know if you have any questions, and we will see you for our next migraine strategy call, which actually is going to be on a different day and time. It's going to be next week on Tuesday, the 15th at 6 p.m. Eastern time. And we will be talking with Amanda and Michelle next week. Super excited. If any of you are educators or teachers, make sure you pop on, because Amanda is, and I know that's a big majority of women in this group. Obviously it's stressful being a teacher. So make sure you pop on. I know you're going to want to hear her story. It's going to be a great call, and today was an amazing call. So thank you so much, ladies. Everyone, here's to your migraine freedom, and we will see you in the group. Take care.
Bye. Bye-bye.